As you probably already know, Evony is a spender's game. And there's a lot of stuff that you get when you spend big in Evony. You have a lot of gems, rune stones, refined stones, blazons, blood of Ares, you name it. If you spend big, you have a lot of it. But there's also some other stuff that is exclusive to the High Rollers Club in Evony. Things like historic subs, extra sub slots, castle skins. And in addition to that, generals. And we're going to be showcasing a couple of those generals here. Hi, and welcome to Red Evony. I am Akayasha. You can call me Aka. So, the two generals that we're going to be showcasing from the High Rollers Club are Narses and Takenaka. Two generals that were released recently, and there was a lot of noise about the two of them. So, we're going to take a look at them and have an idea of what they can do. The first general that we're going to be looking at, Narses. Narses is a sub-city debuff general, specializing in debuffing ground troops. And without a doubt, he is the best ground debuff general in the game. He's better than Constantine, he's better than Yon Gaisomon, he's even better than the legendary Darius. That's how good this guy is. If you take a look at his main skill, he gives ground attack debuff of 50%. 50% in his main skill. In addition to ground troop and mounted troop defense debuff of 40% each. That's very big for a main skill. When you do his specialties and you max out the specialties, in total, Narses will have 95% ground troop attack debuff, 65% defense debuff, and 25% HP debuff. That's in addition to some of the mounted troop debuff that he has. And that is very big. That is more than what you will get from some of the ground debuff generals in the game. And that's just from his main skill and his specialty alone. Now, part of the reason why Narses is exclusive to the High Rollers Club is that he is not available in any of the general tokens. None of the general tokens, whether the premium or whichever general token that you have, Narses is not in there. There is only one way you can get Narses in the game right now. And because of that, Narses has a $2,000 price tag attached to him. And that is because the only way for you to get Narses is when you complete the full cake. As you can see here, he's only available once you reach level 10 of the cake, which would run you roughly about $2,000. And yes, while Narses is a very good sub-general, the best in the game, there are very few people that are going to do the full cake just to get Narses. No, that's not why you do the full cake. You do the full cake for all the other stuff that you get. And then you get Narses along the way. So he's kind of like the icing on the cake. Pun intended, of course. If you look at his ascension though, he does have a lot of debuffs in his ascension. A lot more ground troop debuffs, mounted troop debuffs. Heck, he even has siege HP debuff in his ascension. The problem, however, is that, again, he's only available in the cake. Meaning that if you want to ascend this guy, you need to do multiple cakes. If you were going to fully max out the ascension on Narses, you would have spent around about $32,000. Even for the high rollers, I don't know how many people would be willing to do that. But that's the current situation with Narses. Maybe Evony changes that later and there are more ways to get him. Okay, so that's it for Narses. We're going to look at the second general that we have here, Takenaka Shigeharu. Takenaka is a world general that was recently released. And I don't know about you guys, but I personally really like his character design. I really do. But we're going to put that aside for now. If you look at his main skill, he gets in-city siege machine attack 50%, in-city ground troop and mounted troop defense 45%. That is more than what you'll get from the main skill of any of the world generals in the game right now. And Takenaka is a general that is exclusive to the High Rollers Club. I'm going to illustrate why that is a bit later. But in my opinion, Takenaka is probably the biggest swindle that Evony has done in recent times. Not because he's a bad general. No, he's actually quite a good general. And we're going to compare him to some of the other top generals that we have in the game. But it's the way he was released that is the big problem. As you can see here, Takenaka was released during the Summer Festival Night event. He is not available in the general tokens or any other place. He was only available during this event. And only available through the event packs, which were different from the regular packs that we normally have. And as you can see here, for you to get Takenaka, you had to get 300 of the red stamp thingies that they had during the event. However, in the pack, there were only 3 of those stamps available. So, for you to get enough stamps from the pack to redeem Takenaka, you had to spend between $300 and $500, depending on how you used your double downs, just to get the general. That's the initial price tag that comes with Takenaka. However, remember that I said he is a world general. If you're going to be using him as a world general, you're obviously going to want to ascend him. And for you to get more copies to ascend Takenaka, you had to buy more packs. The total estimated cost of getting enough copies to fully ascend Takenaka came to about $8,000 just for this one general. And that is why he is exclusive to the High Rollers Club. Now, having paid that much for the general, you would expect that you'll be getting the best in the game, the best that money can buy. And now, when we compare Takenaka's stats to some of the other popular world generals that we have in the game, Takenaka does very well compared to them. We're going to look at some of the stats, but the main reason that people are interested in Takenaka is because of his siege stats. So, we're going to focus on looking at his siege stats right now. And as you can see here, of all the generals that we are looking at, Takenaka has the best siege stats when he is the world general and fully maxed out. Of course, this is not taking into consideration his base stats, which are also pretty decent. But we're going to stop the comparison here right now. The reason for that is for you to attain these stats for Takenaka that we are looking at here, you must have spent that $8,000. And that price tag alone was a big red stop sign for a lot of players. So what a lot of people did was they got Takenaka and they started using him as an assistant. So now let's look at how well he is as an assistant. When you look at him fully maxed out as an assistant, that is where the complication with Takenaka comes in. First of all, we're going to focus on the siege stats. As you can see here, these are the stats of the generals that we are looking at when they are fully maxed out as assistants. So that's including their main skill and their specialties fully maxed out. And what can we see here? Takenaka is not the best general when it comes to siege. Takenaka does have a little bit of a saving grace in that he has 2 debuffs in his specialties which are not accounted for here. He's got an enemy troop attack of 10% debuff in his second specialty, and he's also got 10% siege attack debuff in his final specialty. So when you take that into consideration, maybe you can make a case for him being a bit better, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, that's for siege. Let's look at how he is for mounted troops. And as you can see here from his stats as an assistant, for mounted troops, he's okay. You know, you could make an argument for him being good because the defense is so high, but what you really want for mounted troops, HP, he doesn't have any. So for mounted troops, he's neither here nor there. Okay, let's look at for ranged troops. This is what his stats look like for ranged troops. And as you can see, he is nowhere near being the best for ranged troops as an assistant. Okay, put range aside. Let's look at ground troops. As you can see here, he's looking okay for ground troops. You could make an argument that out of the generals that we have here, he's probably looking the best for ground troops. So when you put all of those together, Takenaka as an assistant is kind of floating in limbo. It's nowhere near as clear as some people would like it to be, and you could make a very strong argument that he's not. The problem here is that if you have Takenaka as an assistant world general, you've already spent close to $500 just to get him. And then these are the stats that you got for that. Granted, when he is fully maxed out, you can make an argument for him being the best world general in the game, but as an assistant, he's clearly not. And unfortunately, that point is compounded when you take into consideration that most likely you would have had one, if not more, of the other generals that we have compared Takenaka to, and you wouldn't have had to spend a dime for them. That is why the entire release of Takenaka was such a big swindle by Evony, in my opinion. However, if you have Takenaka, fret not, brethren. There is still hope on the horizon. We can still hope that Evony somehow realize the wrong of their ways and give us more ways for us to get Takenaka that does not include taking out a second mortgage. Once he becomes a lot more accessible and a lot more viable, he becomes more meaningful to use as a main general, and you could then proceed to develop him and use him in that light. And like I said earlier, he is very good as the main world general. So that's it for this one. Later, I'll be bringing out a video where we discuss world generals in a bit more detail. So be sure to check that out. Thank you very much, guys. Aka signing out.